Hey, Rachel.
Hi, Splin. How are you?
Good, Rachel. I see you. I am. Rachel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You sound clear.
Thank you.
April, just to let you know, Commissioners Warner, Halbert, and Chair Splendorio will be running a little late.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
You're recording, huh?
It should be, yes.
Yeah, it looks like the dots on.
Okay, good.
Georgina's on attendees.
Hey, Rachel,
Hello, Commissioner.
how are you?
Good. Nice seeing you again.
Yes, didn't get much time yesterday, no, Monday, I don't know.
Monday. Okay.
Yeah, we usually meet on Wednesday, so having that on Monday just blew it for me.
Me too. Me too. It threw me off.
Yeah,
But it was nice to see everyone again in person. So
yes, it really was. Other than having enough people, it was good.
Mhm,
Turned
mhm.
out very well.
And hopefully more people will start coming. Hold on
Yeah.
just a second. I have a phone call. Let me get that.
Okay. Hi, April, how are you?
Great. How about yourself, Commissioner?
Hanging in there for sure.
Good. How's the weather where you live?
Very hot,
Oh, gee. Yeah,
although today should be a little bit cooler, I'm hoping.
good. Good, good.
Yeah, it's been in the 90s, and when
Yeah.
it starts getting up in the 90s, that's uncomfortable. My air conditioner suffers.
Right, right. I have to keep the windows open so the air circulates because,
Oh, no. Can't keep the windows open out here.
okay.
You die of the heat.
Oh, no, good.
Where are you guys now? You're in Hayward, right?
Yes, we are. It was nice outside. I went for a little walk before the meeting and it was nice. It's sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's, in the 90s, 80s, but
Yeah.
you know what
I
it
was born and raised in Hayward, and I
Oh.
really enjoyed the more cooler weather. Out here in Dublin, it's like,
hot, huh?
yes. Yes, definitely hot. Oh, well. Am I that early? I guess I am. It's 1:55.
That's good. It'll be early.
There will be some commissioners late because they're coming from another meeting. So
Oh,
probably will be around 5 minutes late.
Okay. Have you heard from Anne? Is Anne going to be there?
She will.
And will be in attendance.
Oh, good.
Okay.
You don't by any chance know if the registrar of voters office has moved, do you?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I can double check that, but I haven't heard anything. So I'll add this.
I have to go register. Not register, I have to go fill out the paperwork for the election.
George, and it hasn't changed. I registered already, so
Okay, so it's in the basement of Oakland.
right.
Okay, good. But everybody's moved. I don't know where anybody's at. Maybe you'd know, Ralph, if I wanted to get an old parcel map, I mean old, where might I go? The planning department in Hayward?
There's a maps and files room upstairs. That's where I would go.
Okay, in Hayward.
In Hayward, yeah, in Elmhurst.
Okay,
That's in the Public Works building.
pardon?
That's in the Public Works building.
Oh, okay.
So there's a
All right.
map and file room. There should be, it's been a while since I've been in there. There used to be, a staff person in there who would help you find stuff like that.
Good, because this is from 1903.
Yeah.
Okay, a maps and file office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Hello, commissioners. I just wanted to let everybody know that Chair Splendorio will be running around 5 minutes late, so hang in there.
Okay.
He should be joining us shortly.
Thank you, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Yes.
Hello,
Okay.
Chair. Thank you.
How are you? How are you? Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Let me bring up, fortunately, I have a new laptop here and I need to find some of these things. Question how I find them. How about this, Rachel? Can you do me a favor? You know what? Never mind. I'll do it on my phone.
Would you like me to send you the agenda
Yeah.
packet or anything?
Well, I mean, I've got it here on my phone, so I just need to bring it up. I thought I had it.
Or I will send you the link.
Okay, go ahead. Send me. Oh, here it is. I got it. I
Yeah.
got it.
Okay.
It's taking a while to load.
Substantial packet.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. Do we want to start recording?
We are recording.
Okay. Well, and I do not have I'll just have to go off of memory here, Rachel. Well,
Mhm.
welcome to the July 14th, 2022 Local Agency Formation Commission meeting for the County of Alameda. If we can, do a call to order and take a roll.
Commissioner Hobart,
Present.
thank you. Commissioner Hernandez,
Present.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here,
Commissioner Miley, Commissioner Wieskamp,
Here.
Commissioner Warner,
Here.
Chair Splendorio,
Here,
alternate Commissioner Dave Brown, alternate Commissioner Carla Brown,
Here.
alternate Commissioner Marchand, alternate
He's on his
Commissioner-
way.
Okay, he's on his way. Alternate Commissioner Von Heater Leopold,
Here.
let the record reflect. Roll call has been taken and we do have a quorum.
okay, thank you very much. This is time for public comment. Anyone from the audience may address the commission on any matter not listed on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of Alameda County, LAFCO. The commission cannot act upon matters not appearing on the agenda, and you're limited to 3 minutes. April, do we have any public comment?
I do not see any, Chair.
All right, well, thank you very much. The next item, item 3, is our consent agenda. Are there any items that any commissioner would like to pull from the consent agenda? Try to scan here. I don't see any hands up, so I'm taking that we don't have any, but to want to pull any item. So I'd love to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Albert.
Second, Hernandez.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And oops. I'm getting feedback there. Okay, let's have a roll call vote, April.
Commissioner Hobart,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
aye.
Commissioner Miley, Commissioner Wieskamp,
Aye.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
Chair Splendorio.
Yes.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Thank you very much. Move on to agenda item number 4, the proposed recommendations for LAFCO's 20 review of Measure D. Turn it back over to our executive officer, Rachel.
Thank you, Chair. So I just want to start off. At our last regular meeting, the commission directed staff to work in conjunction with the ad hoc subcommittee on Measure D draft recommendations based on the report's findings and conclusions on LAFCO's final report of its 20-year review of the measure. The committee agreed upon the following recommendations for the commission's consideration, and they are the following. The first one is to support the county's proposed ballot amendment of Measure D to allow a maximum 2.5% floor to area ratio for non-residential buildings in areas designated as large parcel agriculture. The second one is to request the Alameda County Board of Supervisors approve a maximum 3.5% floor area ratio for agricultural buildings within the South Livermore Valley Area Plan. The third, recommend a more individual and discretionary review of maximum building envelopes for development proposals. 4, work with Alameda County Agricultural Advisory Board to develop policies on how to support the agricultural economy going forward. 5, encourage the County of Alameda to approve proposed amendments to Alameda County's East County Area Plan, South Livermore Valley Area Plan, and zoning code as specified in attachment 1 of the staff report, and supported by the Tri-Valley Conservancy and other stakeholders. A summary of the proposed amendments can be found, and I'll go over them in attachment, 1 of the report, but I'll go over them. So amend East County Area Plan to add new definitions for subordinate agricultural building and promote clarifications that wineries are permitted agricultural uses, but tasting rooms are visiting serving uses. Acknowledging that sewer connection is an option along with septic systems for wastewater treatment. Amend the South Livermore Valley Area Plan to increase floor area ratios to allow larger agricultural buildings and allow for clustering of development. Approximately 90% of each parcel would be planted with agriculture. Also prohibit industrial hemp and cannabis cultivation in the South Livermore Valley Area Plan. Lastly, amend Alameda County zoning code to allow for development clustering and to increase the type of visitor serving uses in the cultivated agriculture combining district. And proposed conditional uses include hot air balloon operations, day spas, artisan furniture workshops, boutique cannabis dispensaries, and 140-room resort hotel. Staff presented the aforementioned recommendations for discussion and feedback at the Alameda County Transportation Planning Committee held on June 6th and at the City of Livermore City Council held on June 27th. Staff also provided notice to key regional stakeholders on a public review and comment period through July 5th. LAFCO did receive 1 comment letter from the City of Pleasanton and can be found in attachment 2 of the report, along with responses from staff. Today, staff did receive a follow-up comment letter from the City of Pleasanton. Although it was past our deadline to receive written comment, I will just kind of highlight 2 points in that letter. And the first one is that the city requests that it be notified of any application submittal for hot air balloon rides to allow for its review and comment on proposed flight paths. A hot air balloon operation could have privacy, safety, and noise implications for Pleasanton residents. And then secondly, the city does not support the proposed amendments to make boutique cannabis dispensaries a conditionally permitted use in the cultivated agriculture combining district overlay. Further, non-commercial cannabis cultivation similar to commercial cultivation should not be allowed. So that was from the City of Pleasanton's letter. Staff also did receive a comment letter from the City of Livermore. This was past our July 5th deadline, but I just want to go over highlight what the letter noted. And the most one is that the City of Livermore recommends that the county retain the limit on the number of dispensaries permitted in East County to 3. Right now, under that East County area plan, commercial cannabis sales are currently prohibited. Current county policy would allow for up to 3 dispensaries in the East County area. And the city requests that it remains at that number. The next one that the City of Livermore requests is have LAFCO or work with the Tri-Valley Conservancy to see how the county defines commercial cultivation and production of cannabis and hemp? And would non-commercial cultivation and production be allowed? And lastly, for the proposed hot air balloon rides and operations, use shall be reviewed for compatibility with the Livermore Municipal Airport consistent with the adopted airport land use compatibility plan. And then finally, excuse me, for public comment, I just wanted to note, staff did receive a comment from Mr. Larry Goslin, and he would like the commission to consider the following actions. The first one is for the North Livermore Intensive Agriculture Program draft environmental impact report bonus parcel program, for that not to be amended by the ballot measure to limit the creation of new parcels. Second being new parcels created in the North Livermore intensive agriculture area will be entitled to increased floor to area ratio comparable to the South Livermore area. And then finally, planning for the North Livermore Intensive Agriculture Program will begin to fulfill the goals of funding and implementation described by Measure D. So those were the comments, additional comments that staff received, and we just wanted to note them and put them on the record, and also for the commission to consider them. So
Rachel, sorry to interrupt. I see that Supervisor Miley needs to be promoted, just so you know.
absolutely.
Thank you.
And here you go, Supervisor. So if approved, staff recommends submitting the proposed recommendations to the Alameda County Board of Supervisors in time for their first reading of the ordinance on the ballot amendment. And that is scheduled for July 19th. And staff would provide any additional comments if necessary for the second reading scheduled for August 2nd. The commission will then consider endorsing the ballot amendment at its September meeting. In summary, this item is for the commission to accept the proposed recommendations prepared by staff and the ad hoc subcommittee and submit these recommendations to the Alameda County Board of Supervisors ahead of their first reading scheduled for July 19th. And with that, I will return the item to the chair.
All right, thank you very much, Rachel. In addition to welcoming Commissioner Miley, let's also make note that Commissioner Barshon has joined us. So I think, and I note that Commissioner Miley has his hand up, but I would like to ask if any commissioners have any questions of the staff at this point. And let me also ask, is this a public hearing?
This is not a public hearing, Chair.
Thank you very much. All right, let me acknowledge Commissioner Miley.
Thank you. Actually, I have my hand up to be promoted as panelist, but since you've called on me, I want to thank the staff for the report. And this Measure D amendment is extremely important. I think I've said it before. Some of us have been working on this for a good decade or longer. And so I'm anticipating that the Board of Supervisors will be approving it to go on the ballot. The second reading will be on August 9th, not August 2nd. The board's not meeting on August 2nd. So I just wanted to make that correction. But otherwise, just full speed ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Miley. Any other commissioners have any questions or comments? Oh, Commissioner Brown.
Yes, thank you. I wondered if we could have, if it's possible to have discussion about the issues of the two letters that were submitted both from the city of Livermore and the city of Pleasanton regarding cannabis cultivation and hot air balloons. Specifically, I welcome any comments from our county supervisors that are present, if those seem like reasonable additions or amendments to the ballot measure, or would they be considered not acceptable? Thank you.
Okay, let me ask Commissioners Halberd or Miley.
Well, if I, speaking for myself, the have those suggestions, recommendations, have they been indicated to the planning staff for the county?
Yes, Commissioner, they have been.
And what's, and is the staff?
Staff did not submit any comment letters on LAFCO's proposed recommendations.
Hmm. And what about, have those recommendations been vetted with any of the folks that have been engaged in this whole process over the last decade or so?
Yes,
They, are people, in concurrence? I mean, I'm just trying to get a sense of
so
people's support or lack thereof for
yes,
this.
I understand. So for the most part, I would say who LAFCO has been in conjunction with working with the Tri-Valley Conservancy, the Livermore Valley Wine Growers Association, and through our consultant. These were some of the proposed recommendations that were submitted to LAFCO for LAFCO to encourage to support. And they include the boutique dispensaries, excuse me, within the South Livermore Valley area plan, and the hot air balloon. Those were the two most, I would say, not controversial, but those were the two out of the recommendations that LAFCO did receive comments in particular regarding from the city of Pleasanton and the city of Livermore. The city of Pleasanton just wants to make sure that these activities are reviewed heavily, at least for the hot air balloon. For the dispensary, the city of Pleasanton does not agree with that recommendation and does not support it. For the city of Livermore, they just want to make sure that that number for dispensaries is limited to 3.
Mhm. Okay. Well, Mayor Brown, Honorable Mayor Brown, at the moment, I'm going to be impartial just because I have to do a little bit more due diligence on this, because I hadn't really done anything around those two proposed recommendations. So let me kind of look into this, and if there's any concerns I have regarding either one, I can let you know or anyone else know. But at the moment, I just haven't had any opportunity to really look at it and carefully review it. I'm kind of being hit with it today.
Very much. I know our letter to LAFCO is fairly new and may have been submitted after the comment period. We've had a change in leadership, of course, with the new city manager, and we should have commented during the comment time. It's a privacy over hot air balloons. I think flying hot air balloons, this is personally my opinion, flying hot air balloons over the Tri-Valley sounds really cool. We just want to be respectful that nobody hovers over somebody's private residence and start snapping photos. So
Oh yeah,
it's really just a legal concern, not an entertainment concern. And then the dispensaries, I certainly would like to have a further conversation. Limiting the number to 3 sounds reasonable, and I'd like to continue that conversation if possible. So thank you for your consideration.
Yeah, certainly, and your the rationale sounds very, for lack of a better word, sound. I just don't want to say yes without having done a little bit more homework on this and make sure there are no unintended consequences or anything that might be of concern. But it does sound very sound to me. And let me think here. There's one other thing I was going to mention about this. Maybe it'll come back to me in a minute.
I know
Okay.
what that feels like, but thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
All right, great dialogue. And also, let's remind that the agenda item here is to accept the proposed recommendations and to submit them to the Board of Supervisors. Obviously, this is a decision made by the Board of Supervisors, not by LAFCO. So let's be clear about that. And next, I'd like to call upon Mayor Warner, and I know we have Dick Snyder also would like to comment. He'll be up next. Mayor?
Okay, thank you. I wanted to add to the conversation about the hot air balloon. And I like what Supervisor Supervisor Miley and Mayor Brown have said that it needs to be thought about, do some homework. I would just like to inject into the conversation, what are the flight paths and where are they likely to go? And understanding that the wind generally blows from the west to the east, right? So I don't think they're going to be launching west of Pleasanton. So generally, I don't think it's where they are likely to go is going to be over the vineyards and things. So before we get too spun on concerns, I think we need to look at the prevailing winds and the takeoff points and the flight patterns. But I'm willing to bet that just from what I would imagine is that it's mostly going to be action east of Livermore.
Okay, thank you very much. If I don't see any other commissioners' hands up, let's if we can activate Dick Snyder for his comments.
Mr. Schneider, you have 3 minutes to speak. Oh, no, you don't. You can speak.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. I wanted to clarify something about the hot air balloons, the cannabis dispensaries, et cetera. Those are not part of the ballot measure. The ballot measure only has to do with floor area ratio. And for both agricultural buildings and covered equestrian riding arenas. Those other things are proposed amendments to the South Livermore Valley Area Plan that are not inconsistent with Measure D and therefore do not need a vote of the public. So there should not be an attempt to try and include them in the ballot measure, which I think it's way too late for that. But those would be handled independently by the Board of Supervisors as part of amendments to the South Livermore Valley Area Plan. So that's for clarification. I also wanted to say that I think there was a misunderstanding about the FAR that is part of the ballot measure and the percentages that were mentioned earlier. In the South Livermore Valley Area Plan, what's called the Cultivated Agriculture Overlay District, there's a total of 3.5% FAR, 1% for non-residential visitor serving commercial uses, such as tasting rooms, hotels, restaurants, et cetera, and 2.5% for agricultural buildings, which in that area would include wineries, primarily wineries. Elsewhere in the large parcel agriculture district, there would also be a total of 3.5% FAR. And again, it would be the same as in the South Livermore Valley Area Plan, 1% for visitor serving commercial uses and 2.5% for agricultural buildings. Generally speaking, in the large parcel agriculture district, right now you get a 2.5% for greenhouses, and the ballot measure would expand the number of uses under that 2.5% to other kinds of agricultural uses beyond greenhouses. So there really is no difference between the South Livermore Valley Area Plan and the rest of the large parcel agriculture designation on the total 3.5% FAR in the ballot measure. I'm done.
As usual, Dick, thank you for being the voice of clarity. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. Do we have any further
Yes.
comments
Yes.
from any commissioner or the public?
We have one speaker, Mr. Gosselin. You have 3 minutes to speak.
I'd like to thank the commission for the time they've spent on these two issues. The first issue obviously being the ballot measure, and I certainly support Supervisor Miley's or Commissioner Miley's efforts over the last decade and the efforts of everybody else to come up to speed on that particular matter. The issue of agricultural enhancement and referring that to the Agricultural Advisory Committee, I think is remarkably insightful and powerful. There's a phenomenal amount of work that has been done. I can reference 7 planning documents to enhance agriculture in Eastern Alameda County and several that are specific to the North Livermore intensive agriculture area. So honing in on that agricultural enhancement perspective is extremely important. It's even more valuable or more important now and more valuable now that we recognize that definitions and technical adjustments are within the purview of the Board of Supervisors. And they do have the empowerment to make those improvements that can significantly enhance the agro economy of Eastern Alameda County. So again, I appreciate that that step is being taken and that recommendation is being taken, and look forward to working with everybody to see that we move towards agricultural enhancement and conservation strategies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Larry. Okay, any further comments, discussion?
One more speaker. Speaker, you have 3
Yes.
minutes. Sweta Bond, you have 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to comment. I'm Shweta Bond, Senior Planner, speaking on behalf of the City of Pleasanton. And so as Ms. Jones and Mayor Brown had alluded to earlier, the city has submitted 2 comment letters related to this item, one within the comment period and one outside of the comment period. So I wanted to reiterate the city's comments, summarize them. The city is generally supportive of the proposed amendments with a few minor amendments. The comments are really related to the hot air balloon rides. The city would request that notification be provided with respect to any conditional use permit application that would be received in the future. And this is again to allow for the city's review of the flight path, albeit it could be east of Pleasanton city limits, and perhaps the prevailing wind pattern is perhaps going to the east, but still we would request review of that flight path to ensure no privacy, safety, and noise implications for Pleasanton residents. And then secondly, related to the boutique cannabis dispensaries, the city is not supportive of the amendments to make the dispensaries a conditional use, and then non-commercial or commercial cannabis cultivation should not be allowed as well. So thank you, and we really would appreciate continued involvement with LAFCO and the county with respect to the proposed amendments. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further comments?
One more speaker, Mr. Campos, you have 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Campos, please unmute your mic. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to speak. Thank you for all your hard work over the years in LAFCO. I genuinely appreciate it. Measure D has gone very far in accomplishing its goals, and it's done a remarkable job and accomplished a lot in many ways. This 2022 initiative is a good next step, helping the wine industry especially, as well as the equestrians. The purpose I raise my hand for is really to call out and say we still have a lot of work to do and to look forward. Measure D calls out North Livermore for intensive agriculture, and as so often the case in any things we have public discussion over, there's a lot of debate and it goes back and forth. And what we do have in the meantime is a serious economic vacuum in North Livermore, and nothing much has happened. And I think we need to put out definitions, very specific definitions about what an intensive agriculture area is. I know it's, we've got a chicken or egg situation out here. We're told we don't have water but can't do much. But if we create the plans and create the economic viability, then we will have the water. We know that there's water out there. We know it can be brought in. It's just making it economically viable. And so we need to, I believe, create a North Livermore overlay to complement South Livermore. And we need to make it worthwhile, taking a holistic view of the whole East County and creating a complementing set of economically viable businesses to come into North Livermore. Something that supports the richness and diversity we're blessed with out here, that we can all agree to. A 20-year look and view forward that's effective and makes things work. I think in North Livermore, my personal view is that agriculture, learning, education, and innovation should be at least part of the focus. I would like to see a tapestry of outdoor paths, trails, and small destinations for people to enjoy. I think that along the transit corridor, we need to look at satisfying some of the housing requirements without breaking the spirit of Measure D. My fear is that at some point it'll become too brittle and the whole thing will be wiped out and we'll end up with nothing but houses. And I think if we take the time now and do it right, we can continue to have such a beautiful place as we have now, along with economic viability. Thank you so much. I have a lot more ideas, but I suppose my 3 minutes is almost up.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay, any additional speakers?
No further public speakers, but
Okay.
there are 2 commissioners that would like to speak.
All right, let's get to them. Let me go back up here. Let's go first to Commissioner Miley.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, a few things. First of all, I just want to state very clearly and emphatically, this is a surgical amendment of Measure D. This is not, there's no intention, there's no hidden agenda, there is no desire to amend Measure D, to alter Measure D, to do anything with Measure D that would promote development. Let me make that emphatic. That is not the intention. So, and we will make that very clear at the Board of Supervisors. And if the measure gets on the ballot, we'll make that very clear during the campaign, because we want folks to know this is very, very surgical in terms of what we're doing. Gets to something Mr. Goslin was speaking about in terms of ag trying to enhance and preserve ag in the Tri-Valley and the Measure D areas. That's first thing. Second thing is, I apologize for not having reviewed the comment letters from the jurisdictions, Livermore and Pleasanton. And I appreciate Dick Snyder chiming in, because yeah, if the comment letters are more directed at the South Livermore plan as opposed to Measure D, we don't want to mix, the two. So I'll make sure I follow up on that with County Council to make sure that's the case, that the comment letters that you're putting in, they have no bearing, let's say, on the ballot measure, and it's all as relates to what we're going to be doing with the South Livermore plan, which are 2 different tracks, as Dick kind of pointed out. So I'll make sure that's clear, and we'll get that on the record at the board meeting. And what I was thinking too is, I think I'm long overdue to have my regular meeting. So I typically have a bi-monthly meeting, maybe every 2 months or quarterly, with officials in Pleasanton. Pleasanton has a committee that I meet with of council members, and I don't know if the mayor's on that committee or not, but I think I need to make sure we get back on top of that so that I'm aware of these concerns, maybe a little bit more in advance, but I apologize for not being prepared with this today. And I think those are the follow-up comments I have at the moment. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Miley. Commissioner Albert.
Yes, thank you. I also appreciate the comment letters that were submitted. I echo Supervisor Miley's comments around wanting to make sure that we're clear with our staff and that we clarify as an agency when we do speak to county staff that it is it's in a clear way, and keep things separated where they need to be separated. Appreciate the clarification made earlier, and also make sure that communication from this agency to county staff is made, consistent with this agency's directors and what we want to communicate as we approve things today, and not beforehand. I will note that we've received these letters late in the discussion. We've been talking about this for many months, and I'm just wanting to understand a little bit better, we can take it offline and discuss it. I always like to know why people are making recommendations, and so if it's only about privacy with hot air balloons, fine. But I will note that long before I joined the Board of Supervisors, the board prior to me approved the cultivation of cannabis. And so I don't know if comments were made at that time and we're just going down the same path that's been gone down before, or if there are new reasons why there's an aversion to this. I don't know, but at the very least, we should recognize an action's already been taken, and I'm not sure that relitigating that is going to make a whole lot of sense to the entirety of the board. I don't know enough because I hadn't gone through that in the past, but we should be aware of that. It's been sort of already discussed and handled. So that said, I'm fully supportive of this agency's direction forward with the proposed recommendations. I would like to know, though, the subcommittee members, who were they? And then if they held public comment, who were the members of the public that weighed in? Is this coming from the public? Is this coming from committee staff at cities? Is it coming from members of the community? Is it coming from, committee members here? Who was on the committee, and did they have public comments? And where is most of the recommendations today coming from? I don't know who's best to speak to that. Maybe whoever is on the subcommittee can just recount the public comment, if any, during those meetings.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Halbert. Perhaps April, who are the members of the committee?
Excuse me, Chair, I will say it was Commissioner Halbert, but you weren't available for our May 25th meeting.
Dave, you stepped into it.
So we
Yeah,
And
all have,
Bob Warner and I.
yes, Commissioner
Good.
Warner and Mershon.
And were there public members there?
There were no public members at that meeting.
Got it. Okay, understood. But then later we got we got letters from staff of the cities of Livermore and Pleasanton.
Yes, correct.
And no other letters from members of the community other than the one you read today from Gosselin.
Correct.
I thought I saw a letter from Campos, but
excuse me, there was a letter from Mr. Campos that didn't make the public comment, the deadline for that. I did want to mention the city of Livermore and city of Pleasanton's.
okay.
Because Mr. Campos passed that deadline, I did not enter it into the public record.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Warner.
Yeah, just real quick. It was interesting, the discussion about making sure we were more precise as we talk about this, with amongst ourselves and with staff. I'd also like to say that to the extent that the members of the public need to know what's going on, we may need to figure out a way to be more clear in the communications as to what action is being taken by what body that will do, what, because I think, myself, it's easy to get confused. So I'm just saying we could do better probably on trying to figure it out and parse everything so people understand who's supposed to make what decision, how. And then, you would hope that prior decisions of councils and bodies would, be a precedent, but in the world we're in today, that doesn't seem to always be the case. So, but it is, from my own point of view, is, it's hard to make progress if you keep flip-flopping around.
Thank you. Any other comments?
There are none.
Okay, so I think the action item, if there is any here, is for the commission to accept the recommendations and submit, and any comments recommendations that we've heard through the public or through the commissioner and forward on to the Board of Supervisors. I believe Rachel, isn't that the action item here?
To the Board of Supervisors ahead of their July 19th meeting with any edits or alterations from the commission.
Okay, well, I'm not going to make a motion, but my preference would be that we accept the recommendations and add to the record and that we forward on to the Board of Supervisors all the comments we received, and hopefully they be summarized and forward them on to the Board of Supervisors.
I'll make that motion.
Hold on.
Second. But I don't know that we need one, do we?
A second.
I'll second if we need one.
Thank you very much. Okay, any further comments or suggestions before I call for a roll call vote? Anyone? Okay, so April, if you could have a roll call vote?
Sure. Commissioner Hobart,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Miley,
Aye.
Commissioner Wieskamp,
Aye.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
Chair Splendorio.
Yes.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Thank you very much, April. Next item is number 5, request for proposals, preliminary comprehensive fiscal analysis. This has to do with, the subject that comes up every 30 years, whether you like it or not. It's like a comment. The incorporation of Castro Valley, Ashland, Cherryland, San Lorenzo, Fairview, and Hayward Acres. Turn it over to Rachel.
Thank you, Chair. So in the last 6 months, staff received several requests from public inquiring about potential governance options for Castro Valley and surrounding unincorporated communities and the necessary steps required to examine them. In each case, LAFCO would require the preparation of a comprehensive fiscal analysis. In an effort to provide the public with clear and objective information about an incorporation proposal and its feasibility, staff provided presentations to the Alameda County Agriculture Advisory Committee and Municipal Advisory Committees on the interest of LAFCO preparing a preliminary comprehensive fiscal analysis, or PCFA for short. This potential study would be updated to reflect current fiscal and economic conditions, services, and infrastructure. The purpose of the PCFA is to serve as a fatal flaw analysis of incorporation feasibility, to recommend ways to improve feasibility, and to identify issues requiring further research as part of a formal comprehensive fiscal analysis required by law if an incorporation process moves forward. Overall, public feedback was positive at these meetings, and staff now requests the commission consider a circulation of a request for proposal for the proposed feasibility study. Staff has assumed that up to 3 incorporation scenarios will be evaluated. These options share common assumptions, but will require separate data collection for each area and may be modified to reflect unique characteristics. So far, staff has proposed 3 hybrid models for incorporation. The first one is just looking at Castro Valley, incorporating as its own standalone city. The second, that would consist of Castro Valley plus Ashland, Cherryland, San Lorenzo, Hayward Acres, and Fairview. And the third one is just looking at Ashland, Cherryland, San Lorenzo, Fairview, and Hayward Acres as their own standalone city. If authorized, staff will circulate a request for proposal and scope of services that will address the PCFA factors, focus areas, and required analysis. A selection committee comprised of Bay Area LAFCO executive officers is recommended to screen the written proposals, conduct interviews, and make recommendations in accordance with the timeline that we have listed for the goal to present a recommendation to the commission at the September 8th regular meeting. Adequate funding is included in the LAFCO budget to cover costs associated with the PCFA and use of professional services in the commission's services and supplies unit. Staff recommends approval, and I will return the item to the chair.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I know that we're proposing that whenever we get the RFPs, that LAFCO pay for it. But could you clarify me in the act? I recall when I learned a lot about this was that it isn't necessarily LAFCOs that pay for this study. It sometimes is I don't know who else it would be, but the folks who want to incorporate. Can we just clarify? that-
Absolutely. So I'll just go kind of over a normal process. A normal process would be for community stakeholders, or a petition would be submitted to LAFCO for an incorporation proposal. And a part of that petition will have to include a comprehensive fiscal analysis, and that would be paid for by the applicant. In this case, LAFCO is looking to supplement costs, and because we receive so much community interest from members of the public on what would it take to incorporate, and kind of not having the funds to submit a proposal, not even know if they would like to submit a proposal, LAFCO is considering, hey, we have some extra funding in our fund balance. We can do a preliminary comprehensive fiscal analysis. It won't be the full comprehensive one. It's a small little one that's a snapshot that could provide information to members of the public to see, hey, this is the state of health of these areas. This is what it looks like for services. Is incorporation fiscally feasible or viable at all? And then they could do that with that what they will. But LAFCO is looking to fund this report. In a normal incorporation proposal process, no, the applicant would fund that.
Thank you very much, Rachel. All right, let me, I see that Commissioner Miley has his hand up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, your question is a relevant one, because I know I asked Rachel about that as well earlier on, because I was confused, because clearly if this was an incorporation request, then the body that's requesting the incorporation would have to pay the cost for this comprehensive analysis. Because I know the last time when Castro Valley sought incorporation, I actually paid for the cost of that comprehensive analysis through my office budget. It was about $100,000. And as some of us know, that effort in 2002, I believe, failed like 3 or 4 to 1. So I was very pleased that Rachel and others were considering this type of preliminary, because I had to get my head around this as well. This is preliminary to provide maybe a framework, a foundation, so that folks would have an understanding about whether or not incorporation is something worth entertaining or pursuing. What I like about this, in addition to this providing like an initial framework for that, is that this is the very first time that since I've been on LAFCO, and I've been on LAFCO for 20 years, more than 20 years, this is the very first time I think LAFCO's done this. Both because LAFCO is going to be looking at the entire unincorporated area, San Lorenzo, Fairview, Cherryland, Ashland, Castro Valley, the entire urban unincorporated area. And some of you know, you've heard me talk about this in the past. If we took the unincorporated area, and I'm talking about all of the unincorporated area, and there are some folks who live in unincorporated Livermore and unincorporated Pleasanton, as well as Knoll, but that's not part of the urban unincorporated area. But if we took the entire unincorporated area, we're talking about roughly 150,000 people. And the unincorporated area of Alameda County would actually be the 4th largest city in the county. Only Oakland, Fremont, and Hayward would be larger. So to have this analysis of the entire urban unincorporated area is really beneficial because it's never been done. And as I understand it, LAFCO is going to be looking at different components of the entire area. Do they want to incorporate? Does one segment of the area want to consider incorporation? I think people, because Rachel, she attended an unincorporated services committee for the Board of Supervisors and presented this to the community, and the community had a number of questions as well. Do they want to consider annexation? Because, Ashland, for instance, is in the sphere of influence of San Leandro. Cherryland is in the sphere of influence of Hayward. Fairview is in the sphere of influence of Hayward as well. So, I mean, it's going to be looking at a lot of different things, I think, preliminarily. And I believe this is going to be very helpful information for the public and all of us. So I think this is, and I appreciate the fact too, because I asked Rachel about this, the money, appreciate the fact that LAFCO has extra money and we can provide this type of service to the urban unincorporated area and the citizens. And this really fits in alignment with, some of you are familiar, I launched an effort in 2003 or thereabouts called the Eden Area Livability Initiative. And one of the components of that initiative was looking at governance. And so we've done a lot of work on governance in the unincorporated area. And this really is in alignment with all that work around governance, because people are constantly eager to try to improve governance and the return on their investment and their taxes and services to the unincorporated area. And I think this would help as well. And then in 2020, I actually did a poll of the unincorporated area. I think we polled about 300 citizens throughout the urban unincorporated area, if I recall correctly, and to kind of get a sense around governance too. But that was once again a limited poll to kind of give us a sense. Do people want to annex? Do they want to incorporate, et cetera? So I have some kind of understanding of where people's minds are when it comes to some of this, but I think this will be very helpful for everybody in terms of thinking about that. I suspect that from the analysis, Castro Valley might decide they want to move ahead with incorporation. I don't think the entire urban unincorporated area is going to want to move ahead with incorporation. I don't think San Lorenzo, Hayward Acres, Ashland, Cherryland are going to move ahead with incorporation just as a component. But I do think all this information will be very informative for all of us. So I just wanted to kind of weigh in on this because I've been speaking with Rachel about it ever since I heard that this was being considered. And the only question I have of Rachel is, do we have the scope of work decided upon for the consultant just yet, or is that still to be developed?
Staff does have a kind of general scope of work that will be requested in the proposal. We thought we had a consultant before, but kind of the processes fell through and we'll have to circulate a request for proposal. But that consultant will, whoever we select and recommend, we will outline and kind of define that scope of work for the commission to review at our September meeting.
So we'll get a chance to look at that scope of work in September. Okay, thanks. All right, so I think I've probably said enough on this. I'm very giddy about this. I really appreciate that we're going to be doing this because I think this is serving the public interest. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Miley, and I will make note that your use of the term giddy as the fair closed is completely appropriate. Next, let's have Commissioner Johnson weigh in.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to echo Supervisor Miley's comments. As a resident of the unincorporated community of Castro Valley, I think this is a great project. I'd also like to compliment Rachel for her efforts at public outreach. I know she's made presentations to the Unincorporated Services Committee. I believe all the MACs, the Castro Valley MAC, San Lorenzo MAC, or Eden Area MAC, the Fairview MAC. This study has probably had more public input in the development than anything else I think we've ever done at LAFCO. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, I don't think we've gotten really much in the way of a negative response to this. I think it's generally been positive, and I really have to compliment you for your efforts along those lines. And I think it's a good project. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. That recognize Commissioner Hernandez.
No questions, just want to thank staff for bringing this forward. I know Supervisor Miley, I get a couple emails every year from Castro Valley residents asking if Dublin will incorporate them. So thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And yes, let me ask April, do we have any speakers that are not commissioners?
Yes, we do. We have one public comment.
Okay.
Speaker, you have 3 minutes. Please unmute your mic. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Kelly. The way this is set up, the way this game is being played here, it's a little bit strange if you think about it. Just take a step back, look at the big picture. We're all going to be looking at some predictive accounting financial analysis to assess the financial viability of some potential cities, which is, sounds like a great idea in principle. But then you would think, oh, this is like looking at some soccer teams in the English league and trying to guess which ones are going to make it into the top tier of the Premier League. But let's look at it the opposite way. In the Premier League, it's a Darwinian system. The teams they compete, and the ones that don't do well, they get relegated. And here in California, for cities that are already in the Premier League, we do have the state auditor, and it does have a high-risk local government agency audit program that identifies local cities and government agencies that are at high risk for potential of waste, fraud, abuse, or mismanagement, or that have major challenges associated with their economy, efficiency, or effectiveness. Tremendous thing done by professional auditors, and they've already done that to some cities. So I'd like to, these cities are getting the benefits of this kind of analysis. Cities like the city of El Cerrito has an analysis out there already published, and they said that the city of El Cerrito's excessive spending jeopardizes its ongoing fiscal viability. Other cities that are on the list of bad or weak cities, Vallejo, and several others. Oakland is another one. I think Oakland is a large city in Alameda County, so Oakland does not look good on their list of 400 or 500 cities. So I think when we treat these people in Castro Valley or wherever, and when we're analyzing them and judging them and giving them this kind of analysis or judgment to see whether they are worthy or not, I think that they should be conducted by the state auditor. I think they need to be treated no better, no worse than the people in Oakland, and they should get a fair shot. Thank you.
Chair, that is all the comments from the public, and I think we have one more from the commission, from Commissioner Miley.
Chair, your mic is off. I don't know if you're saying anything. So your mic is still off, Chairman Splendoria.
Okay, sorry about that. Took me a while. I got a new laptop and it's really hard to maneuver with the mouse. Okay, so thank you very much. Commissioner Miley, do you have any more comments?
Yeah, I just want to, I was not going to say anything, but some of Kelly, appreciate Kelly's comments on various matters with various bodies. Sometime I agree with him, sometime I don't. And he just used the word whether or not the folks of the jurisdictions that are being studied, whether it's considered, whether they're worthy or not. I think that's kind of the wrong nomenclature to put on what we're doing here, because LAFCO is an independent body. As commissioners, I'm not here in my, I'm not serving as the supervisor of Alameda County when I'm at LAFCO. I'm a LAFCO commissioner. So LAFCO is its own independent body established under state authority to do different things. So we are that body, quite frankly, that can provide that type of independence and that type of analysis. first of all. And secondly, we are not telling the citizens of Castro Valley, Ashland, Cherryland, Fairview, Hayward Acres, San Lorenzo. We're not telling them what to do. We're providing them with information so they can decide if they want to do something. LAFCO is not going to compel them to do anything. We're going to provide information. Then if out of that information, the folks decide they want to advance a proposal or an application to LAFCO for incorporation of whatever it might be, they can do that. They don't have to do it, but they can do that. And when they submit that application or proposal, they would have to pay for that. And that's when the additional resources comes into play for comprehensive analysis. So once again, we are not compelling the citizens of the unincorporated area to do anything. We're providing them with good, solid information. So they in turn can decide what they want to do as citizens of the unincorporated area. We're not treating them like children. We're not doing anything that would be disrespectful of them. So that word Kelly used just kind of jarred me a bit. And I wanted to at least come back and say that this is an independent study, and it's not going to compel the residents of the unincorporated area to do anything, but they can decide to do something if they so choose. And it can be any configuration of citizens from the unincorporated area that might decide to do something. So I don't know if Rachel wants to confirm that, but that is my understanding.
Thank you, Commissioner. That is correct. LAFCO cannot submit an incorporation proposal.
All right, thank you very, very much. Commissioner Warner.
Yeah, I'd like to build on what Commissioner Miley said. This isn't about these people's capabilities to govern themselves as whether they're good people or bad people or wastrels or anything like that. It's simply, I believe, is providing the information, the economic costs and benefits of becoming incorporated versus staying in the county. And it's a numbers financial analysis. It is projections of what might happen in the future in terms of property taxes, et cetera. But I view it as a dispassionate financial analysis of the puts and takes. It's that simple. And so it's not a rating of people's qualities.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Warner. Any other comments from the public or from the commission?
There are none.
So I think the action item here is to motion to authorize the circulation of the RFP.
I'll second that. But in jest, with my second, as long as Dublin's included as the part of the analysis for annexation of Castro Valley. I'm being facetious because Mayor Hernandez mentioned that. So I don't think Rachel had anticipated studying whether or not Dublin Castro Valley should be annexed into Dublin, but just being facetious, I second it.
No, I understand.
All right, let's have a roll call vote, April.
Commissioner Hobart.
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Miley.
Aye.
Commissioner Wieskamp.
Aye.
Commissioner Warner.
Yes.
Chair Splendorio.
Aye.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Thank you very much, April. Let's move on to item number 6. Conflict of interest for planning services for Lampier Gregory. I believe, Rachel, this would be your presentation.
You're on mute.
She's there.
Thank you. Scott Gregory,
There you go.
President of Lampier Gregory and LAFCO's planning consultant, provided Alameda LAFCO a letter dated on May 26th that he will be unavailable to support LAFCO in reviewing and commenting on environmental documents for the proposed ballot measure D amendments, and that can be found in attachment 2 of the staff report. Given that it has been brought to LAFCO's attention that Lampier Gregory had been retained by the County of Alameda on May 10th to prepare environmental documents related to the county's proposed amendments on ballot measure D, there is a conflict of interest between Lanphier, Gregory, LAFCO, and the county. So Mr. Gregory anticipates and finds that the conflict of interest should only be applicable to the review of environmental documents and requests that the commission continue its ongoing services with the firm to prepare special studies and review planning documents outside of this conflict of interest between Lanphier and LAFCO in the county, excuse me. So Government Code Section 56384-6 requires the commission appoint alternate staff to assist it if staff or the commission is subject to a conflict of interest on a matter before the commission. In order for LAFCO to be well positioned to have the ability to provide comment on the county's draft environmental documents for the proposed ballot measure D amendment, and in time for the Board of Supervisors' first reading on the ordinance scheduled for July 19th, it's staff position that the commission appoint Alameda LAFCO executive officer to provide written comment on said environmental documents. So staff is requesting first to continue its relationship with Lanphier Gregory outside of this conflict of interest, and then to appoint staff to write the environmental, write the comment letter on the environmental documents for the proposed ballot amendment on Measure D. And with that, I will turn the item to the chair.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Any questions or comments? The action item here is to basically to have Rachel prepare our environmental comments.
Mhm.
Anything? Okay. Can I entertain a motion?
Excuse me, Chair, we have to ask any members of the public for.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not realize that we had any comments.
We do not have any comments from the public.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Any further comments from any commissioners? Thank you, Commissioner Warner. Can I have a second?
Second, Halbert.
Thank you very much. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hopper,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Miley,
Aye.
Commissioner Wieskamp,
Aye.
Commissioner Warner,
Aye.
Chair Splendorio.
Aye.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much, April. Item number 7 is affected agencies' responses on municipal service review recommendations. And Rachel.
Thank you, Chair. So as directed by the commission at its March 10th regular meeting, staff requested a written response from each affected agency on how it plans to address or implement the recommendations presented in LAFCO's 2021 countywide municipal service review on water, wastewater, stormwater, and flood control services, and also provide an explanation if the agency does not plan to implement a recommendation. Staff requested that the responses be provided by June 10th, and LAFCO has received written responses from many of the affected agencies in that MSR, and they include the following: the Alameda County Flood Control and Water Conservation District, Castlewood County Service Area, Dublin San Ramon Services District, Oraloma Sanitary District, Union Sanitary District, and Zone 7 Water Agency, and the cities of Hayward and Oakland. These responses can be found in attachment 1 of the staff report and will be posted on the LAFCO website. LAFCO's staff will track each agency's implementation efforts and provide updates to the commission as necessary. Staff will also follow up with staff and officials of those agencies that did not provide a written response to LAFCO by this June 10th deadline. But basically, this item is for the commission to accept and file and provide direction to staff as necessary. And I will return the item to the chair.
All right, thank you. Excuse me, do we have any comments from commissioners or from the public?
There are none.
Okay, so the recommendation here is to accept and file and provide direction to staff as needed. Other than accepting and filing, is there any direction needed here? Okay, and how about a motion to accept this item?
This is
Also
Commissioner
moved.
Johnson. I'll move the item.
I'll
Let's have
second.
Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Warner has seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hobart,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Miley,
Aye.
Commissioner Wieskamp,
Aye.
Commissioner Warner,
Aye.
Chair Splendorio.
Aye.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Thank you very much. All right, item number 8, Cal LAFCO nominations and designation of voting delegates. I believe that we have not had a Cal LAFCO conference in at least 2 years, and if we're lucky, there'll be one October 19th to 21st in Newport Beach at the Hyatt Regency, which is in the Back Bay area. First of all, let me ask, before we ask who is a voting delegate, is anyone interested in intending to attend? And I strongly urge you, if you have the time, they're very informational. You get to meet a lot of other commissioners from other parts of the state, and I suspect that this may be well attended since for some reason Newport Beach seems to be an attractive place for people to go to. And also it has been a long time. So I see Georgine, you have your hand up.
Yes, since I've played this role for about 45 years now, I volunteer to do it again.
Okay, that'd be the voting delegate is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Is anyone else interested in attending and or being the voting delegate?
This is Commissioner Johnson. I'll probably be attending, but I'm not interested in being the voting delegate though.
Yes, if for those you don't know, you need to be up at 8 a.m. one morning to vote, and Georgine is always willing to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse
I've done that
Okay.
a few times myself.
Yes, John has done it also. Yes, John has done it also. Okay, do we need a motion here
Miss-
or?
Chair.
Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I
Go
just
ahead,
want to say, yeah, I'm, if my schedule permitted it, I would attend, but my schedule doesn't permit. I have been to a couple of them, and I definitely find them worthy of any commissioner going and learning and interacting and networking. And then, because I think the last one I went to was either in Tahoe or Napa. I can't remember now. Mona was still our executive officer at the time, but it's been a while. But I just want to co-sign that these are definitely worthwhile conferences to go to. You learn a lot, get to meet other folks, and they're always in nice venues as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do we need a motion
And
to appoint
excuse me, Chair,
Georgine?
can I just add one thing? Because maybe if we can't find another voting delegate, I would like to propose that I would be the alternate voting delegate, since we kind of just need one just in case for the conference.
Okay, well, I'm happy to serve as the alternate. I intend to go, especially since I spent, some of you know, I grew up in Orange County and we biked as a kid to Newport Beach almost every day in the summers. Of course, they would never let me into the Hyatt Regency, but maybe this time they will. So how about a motion to have Georgine be the voting delegate and I'll be the alternate? How's that?
So move.
Thank you.
Second, Hernandez.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hobart,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez. Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Miley,
Aye.
Commissioner Wieskamp,
Aye.
Commissioner Warner,
Aye.
Chair Splendorio.
Aye.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Thank you very much. Item number 9, LAFCO Local Agency Directory.
Thank you, Chair. So basically, this item is for Alameda LAFCO to receive a local agency directory prepared as part of its adopted work plan for last fiscal year. The directory identifies all elected and appointed local agency officials for the 43 cities and special districts under the commission's jurisdiction in Alameda County as of July of this year. A link to the directory will be sent to local agencies and other state and regional government agencies. The commission is invited to discuss the directory and provide feedback on possible content changes ahead of future publications. There's no motion on this item, but just wanted to present that to the commission, and I will turn the item to the chair.
Thank you. Any comments, questions about the directory? Seeing none, thank you very much, Rachel. Can we move on to item number 10?
Absolutely. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Just to say that is matters initiated by members of the commission. Sorry. guys.
Yes, so I'm going to ask, is there any matters that any member of the commission would like to initiate? Seeing none, let's move on to item number 11, executive officer report.
Thank you, Chair. So,
And thank you. We're near the end. My voice is really failing at this point.
So just to note to the commission, on June 20th, LAFCO submitted a comment letter on the draft supplemental environmental impact report for South Livermore's sewer expansion project. Basically, overall, the proposed project is to allow existing residences and wineries in the unincorporated part of South Livermore Valley to connect to the city of Livermore's public wastewater system. LAFCO just did make 2 notes and requested that the report consider governance options of either an annexation proposal or out of area service agreement, given that the proposed project lies outside of the city's jurisdictional boundary, and also requested that the draft supplemental EIR include LAFCO as a responsible agency, given that the proposed project calls for LAFCO approval of 1 or more applications requesting the delivery of wastewater service to the affected territory. So I just wanted to note and point that out to the commission on that comment letter, and it can be found in the agenda packet. As for item number 11B, LAFCO Community Services Municipal Service Review update, the request for proposal. Staff has not really received any proposals for our second circulation of that RFP. We will be recirculating it a 3rd time, hopefully casting a wider net and getting more bids for our policy and budget committee to review. And hopefully there is a delay in that, unfortunately, but hopefully we can get that to the commission by our November meeting. But we just want to make sure that we get a good amount of bids that we can evaluate to have a really good MSR for this. And then lastly, an update on LAFCO's South Livermore Valley area specific plan. Staff and consultant Langford Gregory, we're working on a new project timeline to present to the commission. The consultant and staff are just working on the Measure D study, but we will now segue into that specific plan update. And hopefully at our September meeting, staff will present that new project timeline to the commission.
Okay, any comments regarding anything of Rachel's report? And I do have one regarding the South Livermore Valley Plan retrospective. I think you heard this, Rachel, when we did Measure D. It was heavy on planning and not necessarily on the economics. And I think that in our scope, we should include an analysis of the economics of what happened, what didn't happen, et cetera. I don't know if Commissioners Warner, Wieskamp, Marchand, Halbert, or Miley might feel differently about that, but they're the ones that are regularly in the area, and I would like to include that in the study. And Commissioner Warner has his hand up.
Yeah, I would just second what you're suggesting there, that we could go a little bit heavier on the economics. And I do believe that it's also important to distinguish between revenues and net income in that study, right? It's the net that determines whether these things are viable or not.
Thank you. Any other comments by any Commissioner Halbert?
No, I agree. If we could even get down to profitability, that would be helpful. And as we do that, I think if we would include the voice of those industries, or rather those businesses, maybe even the Wine Growers Association or other agritourism, we should absolutely be talking to those people to ensure that that we would be successful.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Any other comments? Thank you. Or direction? Thank you very much. Informational items. Anything anyone needs to add regarding information or questions or comments? Nothing.
Nothing, just
ahead.
that,
Go ahead, Rachel.
excuse me, Chair, nothing, just that the LAFCO Commission Clerk, April Rafal, she will follow up with those commissioners interested in attending the Cal LAFCO conference.
Thank you. So I think you got some interest from at least three of us.
Yeah.
Great. Excuse me. That's it. Anything else for the good of the group? Commissioner Miley.
Yes, Mr. Chair, point of personal privilege. I'd like to state that, because this will probably be the only public time I get to state this, the county council who is here today with us in the place of Andrew Massey is Audrey Beeman. And some of you might not know Audrey, but I know Audrey because she's worked with me on a number of matters in the unincorporated area over the years. Is she still on? Because I'm looking.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm looking for a picture
on.
here.
I'm here.
Okay, there you go. So I just wanted to thank Audrey for her services to Alameda County. She could tell us how long she's worked for the county, because like I said, I've done a lot of work with her over the years. She's going to be leaving the county for greener pastures. I believe it's less work, and I know she's going to get paid more money. So, you know, that it's a winner, less work, more money. What can who could pass that up? But I just wanted to personally thank Audrey for her service to the county over umpteen years. And like I said, she can tell us how long she's worked at the county and what she's done. We're going to miss her, but I think Audrey and her family live in Castro Valley, so I'll still get to represent her as her supervisor.
Well, thank you very much, Supervisor Miley. I did not anticipate this, so I don't have prepared remarks, but I have been with the county for 17 wonderful years. It has been an amazing experience. I have learned a lot. I have worked with so many outstanding human beings, including yourself, Supervisor Miley, and your staff, the Public Works Agency, the General Services Agency, CDA, the Housing Authority, and lots of other departments. And I am leaving for the Santa Clara Valley Water District, where I will be Assistant District Counsel, and looking forward to new and exciting opportunities there. But the county is my home. I'm born and raised in Alameda County in Oakland, a product of the Oakland Public Schools. And I am just so grateful to have been able to serve in this community where I also live. And, you know, the county will always hold a special place in my heart. And I appreciate all the projects we've worked on, Supervisor Miley, and all of the night meetings we've attended and survived. And so thank you very much for your kind words, and thank you, commissioners.
Yeah, and like I said, Audrey, when county council told me you were leaving, I said, no, she can't do that. But then when I was informed where you were going and that you would be getting more money, I said, hey, I mean, like I said, I think you're going to have less work, and I know you're going to do a marvelous job, but you're going to get paid more money. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. So best wishes.
Thank you. It was not an easy decision, but thank you.
Thank you very much, Nate. Thank you, Audrey. And Ralph, you have a comment?
Yes, I do. When I worked for Public Works, I worked with Audrey, and I'm glad to hear where you're going. I know the folks at Santa Clara Valley Water District very well. It's a great agency. I think you'll have a good time there. It's a lot more money, I'm sure, but good. Just a quick note about Audrey. While I was working, we had one of our employees, a guy by the name of Gary Moore, who was in the building department. Gary passed away sort of suddenly. And just to show you how much Audrey associates, she was at the funeral for Gary. And I really appreciate the fact that someone from county council would come all the way out and attend a funeral for one of our great employees. So thanks, Audrey, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much, Ralph. And you were one of my first teachers in Public Works. So and I appreciate everything I learned from you and everyone else at Public Works. And so, like I said, the county is my family, and the passing of Gary Moore was a very sad thing to have happen pretty early in my time with Public Works, but I had already been indoctrinated to the Public Works family. So there's no place I would have, I had to be there to be with my family.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any best wishes to Audrey? We of course wish you the best, and you've been a real treasure and a real benefit to the entire county and to LAFCO when you stepped in here. So thank you very much, Audrey, and wish you the best.
Thank you so much. I didn't expect to be roasted today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. If no one else has anything else, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.